Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Hey guys, we have a special guest, Talon Sei. Talon is no stranger to the camera or the outdoors. With over a decade of experience producing high-impact video content, Talon Sei has carved out a name for himself in the digital space through multiple successful YouTube channels that educate, inform, and entertain. As the creative force behind his own production company, Talon has partnered with top-tier brands across a wide range of industries, from everyday carrying knives to vehicles, motorcycles, and overlanding gear. But his mission goes far beyond just clicks and views. Talon is a passionate advocate for what he calls the outdoor adventure culture, inspiring others to go outside, explore, and embrace a lifestyle that blends freedom, function, and storytelling. Whether he's reviewing gear, customizing a van, or spotlighting brands with purpose, Talon brings a unique voice to the world of video marketing and adventure media. Talon, welcome to the show.
Hey, Phil. Thanks, man. That's quite the intro. And hey to Mike, too. We haven't met yet, but
I don't do those intros. That's Phil. Like he's good with the words.
Yeah, man. It makes me sound better than I feel about myself. So that's good.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm being sincere, Talon. Just some trivia for you. I've known of you for about 10 years. And the way I discovered you was I used to live in Boston and worked with the Boston Red Sox.
Oh, no way.
I moved away and I used to just watch videos of Boston. And my very first video of you was about 10 years ago when you were in Boston at a game. And I've been a subscriber ever since.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm always curious about how some people like come across my videos. And you're right. It is almost like I'm coming up on 10 years on YouTube since my first video. I think my second video I've ever posted was when I was moving to Boston for a little while. So yeah, man, I'm still a Red Sox fan. That's cool. That's a cool connection.
So one day I'm gonna have to share with you. I did some sports photography for them. I have like pictures of the trophies, all the team members. I've got a case of wine that still hasn't been opened that they gave me. I got a lot of memorabilia from that.
That's very cool. Yeah, I've seen a lot of pretty cool games up there.
I gave you a big introduction, but you really didn't need it. You're a big boy around here. Everybody knows you. I've seen you at numerous events, but I generally don't walk up to you because you've got people following you like you're Michael Jackson.
I mean, I got a lot of friends. I roll around with a lot of my friends at like expos and stuff. But yeah, man, I'm glad we finally got to connect at the Benchmade booth down at Expo too. But yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. Thanks for inviting me.
So how did you get into overlanding? That's predominantly what our subject matter is. So let's start with that. How did you get into overlanding?
Yeah, I was going basically full-time content creation on YouTube. This was around 2018, 2019. And I was originally saving up money to buy a house. I had quit my full-time job and I was like, okay, I need to do something now. And instead of buying a house, I bought a Sprinter van. I'm actually sitting in one of my Sprinter vans right now, my new one. And I didn't really even know what overlanding was at the time. I was just like, hey man, I want to live on the road and travel. I grew up in the mountains on the East Coast in the Appalachian Mountains. And I've always been into off-roading, but not quite as much as I am now. So I was kind of like living the van life kind of deal for a while. I lived in my original van that I bought for about 2.5 years. And then modifications started happening and like crazier off-road scenarios. And then when I relocated like permanently to Denver, Colorado, that's when I started building trucks and getting like into like proper overlanding, as people like to call it now. So Yeah, I just kind of fell into it.
Whatever that means.
Whatever,
Proper overland.
whatever you want to call it.
I still
everyone
call it camping and traveling, but
yeah.
You being in Denver, I've got to ask while it's on my mind, will your fans be able to see you at Mountain West? Do you plan on going there?
Yeah, definitely. I will be there. I'm not sure what vehicle or vehicles I will be bringing, but I will definitely be there, and that'll be the next Overland Expo I go to. I'm not going to make it to PNW just because it's pretty far. I got other things going on, but I will be at Loveland for sure.
All right, you guys heard it here first. Uh, how did you get into the outdoor industry? Because I remember your earlier videos, you were just a dude on the web, and like now you're pretty much connected with a lot of major brands. I love your e-bike videos that you're doing now. How did you get into all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been into the outdoors, and then, I mean, my progression of videos has been all over the place. I just make videos on whatever I find interesting, even if I know it's not going to do well on my channel. Like if I just focused onto one niche, it could have grown way quicker and have better engagement and stuff like that. But I would do everything from like tech reviews. And when I was living in Boston, I had an electric skateboard. So I eventually lived in Miami for a while, and I was doing a ton of like electric rideable reviews, and I still do like the bike stuff now. I've been getting back into it a little bit more now that the weather is nicer. But yeah, I've always been into the outdoors, and whether it's mainly anything with wheels and a motor. I'm into motorcycles, mountain biking, skateboarding, anything like that. So it's always been a part of me, and now it's like my identity. So I just kind of leaned into it, and everything I do is based around vehicles or the outdoors.
It's quite ironic that algorithms and social media, they always recommend find your niche. And just like you said, you are all over the place, but that's what I love about it is that when I get a video from you, it's not going to be the same repetitive thing. And it's still like a handful of things that you do. You don't just go all over the place, but that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Like I said, it's not a good way to run a channel, but at the end of the day, I'm making videos that I want to make. I'll take my audience into consideration for some things, but for the most part, like if you don't enjoy making the videos, then why are you even doing it in the first place? Like you're doing it for money or fame or whatever it is. I've always just stuck with things that I'm interested in. I'll post a video that'll get terrible views, won't even break like 5,000 views, but I'm stoked on the video. It's something I want to share, and maybe some other people out there will connect with it.
I
you
love
see
it.
a lot of people get burned out trying to chase that YouTube algorithm. And unfortunately, we kind of probably all know the people that do the same. I call it the same video over and over again. You know what I mean? And they're just like reformulating it, trying to stick to that super tight niche. But it is enlightening to see people that are just do what they want to do. Because at the end of the day, I think that's what makes you last, right? I mean, you got to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, I've put so much of my life on the internet over the years now that my main goal is to hope that people are watching my videos not only for the topic, like whether it's overlanding, vehicle building, or electric bikes or whatever. I want them to watch it for me because they know my interests and what I'm into. That's why, like, a lot of my review type videos, whether I'm reviewing gear or anything like that, I feel like it hits home with more people because it's like they're hearing it from a friend. They know the things that I'm into, things that I look for, quality and function and things like that. So rather than just some dude who like only reviews stuff, I am reviewing things, but they know way more about like how I like to use gear and things like that. So it's kind of a unique way to do things, I guess.
It makes you much more credible to the companies out
Mhm.
there that are looking to push their products as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I like to help out a lot of small companies, big companies, but I pride myself on like actually doing the stuff, using products, and sometimes using them in unconventional ways that some people would too, just to like really, I mean, when I'm filming a video, I don't script anything. So my brain is like racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour thinking like, okay, what is somebody going to ask me about this vehicle? Or like, how would someone use this in a situation that maybe I wouldn't use it in? Um, there's a lot that goes into that. And it's kind of interesting to even, for me to even think about it that way.
So we've mentioned the travel and the overlanding. One of the things that wasn't actually what drew me to you. It was the everyday carry. And
Yeah.
that's the other niche you're in, and very popular. I think you might be more popular in EDC than you are in the overlanding community. Would you say that?
Yeah. I feel like there's kind of like a plateau in the overlanding community. Like there are a lot of really big, awesome creators out there who have massive channels and stuff like that. But I feel like the overlanding world is not as large as like the EDC world. Everyone has things in their pockets at all times. And I've always been into it even before I started making videos. So for people, I'm sure everyone listening would know, but everyday carry is like the tools that you carry in your pocket. So flashlight, wallets, knives, watches, things like that. And firearms, that was a big thing on my channel for a while too, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But uh, I I find gear that I like, and then generally I don't stray from it. And I knew my audience wanted to see more of it. So this year I started making a new everyday carry video every single month. So I'm constantly switching up my gear, and it's not something that I personally like, but it's making me find new things. So it's kind of cool at the same time. Um, that's one of those topics that kind of like what we were talking about. I feel a little bit burnt out on it because I don't like changing my gear all the time. Like if you find something that works, you should stick with it. But
Yep.
it is broadening my horizon to a lot of new companies and new products that I haven't really messed with before. So it's cool.
So with that said, give us three things that a beginner in everyday carry should have right now.
I mean, the main three are ones that people who don't even know the term EDC, they already have: your wallet, your keys, your cell phone. And then to take it a step further, like the two more things that I always carry are a flashlight and a pocket knife. Pocket knife will be more useful for people than they think. And then a flashlight, everyone's like, oh, I got one of those on my phone. But until you carry a dedicated, like small flashlight in your pocket, you don't realize how much you actually use that thing. So the main three everyone already has, and then the staples too. You can throw a watch into the mix too. I became a big watch guy over the past couple of years, but as far as things in your pocket, that's what I would say.
Talon, I'm an old man. Everyday carry is an evolution from what I see. It used to be Gentleman's Quarterly. It used to be what do you call it? It was more about there was a different style of everyday carry before there was everyday carry. It was more dress up, and now it's more evolved into a more casual thing. But even though it's casual, it's very fashion forward. It's very detailed. Why do you think that evolution went from shirts to ties to $100 t-shirts and $60 hats and $700 knives?
Yeah, that's a
It used to be Mont Blanc pens and
That's right.
you know.
yeah. I think you could relate it to like vehicles, like say like a sports car scene. You have people who are into function, so they have functional suspension, wheels, tires, setups like that. And then you have like the kind of show guys that want air ride suspension and flashy paint and more decorative kind of stuff. And that's kind of the same thing for EDC. Like I tend to, for vehicles and EDC, I tend to stray on the function side, like function first. but occasionally I like to carry a really nice pocket knife. I like to carry or wear a really nice watch. Um, there are some people that are in like a niche inside of the EDC niche as well, where they're like, I only carry $700 plus pocket knives and all this like fancy Damascus steel blade stuff and things like that, which is cool. I mean, I respect it all. Same thing with vehicles, kind of like the respect all builds kind of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things that I think are a little excessive at times, but I just stay in my own lane. Like if you like something, cool. I don't have anything bad to say about that. I'm very methodical and I do things with a purpose. So that's kind of why I stay on the functional side of things typically.
So, where are you right now? Did you say you were in Denver?
Yeah, I am in
No,
Denver.
I mean physically at the moment.
Yep. Yeah. Denver, Colorado.
So you just recently got back then because you were in Indiana. I was following you at the Indy 500. How did you get involved in that?
One of my big partners for vehicle stuff is Firestone, and they are they are the tire sponsor for the Indy 500 and the IndyCar series. So they emailed me a little while ago. They actually invited me last year and I couldn't make it because I was on an overlanding trip, but this year I made it a priority and I'm so glad I did. So yeah, I was out at Indy Motor Speedway for a weekend, got to see the race, like all access pass. We were in the pits, we were on the starting grid. It was incredible. Definitely something that I'll never forget.
Oh yeah, that was like a bucket list thing for me when I saw your video. I was like, wow, I want to do that. And I never had an interest until I saw your video.
Yeah. I grew up in a family that watched a lot of NASCAR. So I grew up going to a few races and stuff like that, but I've never been to an IndyCar race ever. So going to the 500 as my very first experience with that kind of access, thanks to Firestone, it was like, it will never be the same again. Like I don't even know if I would want to go to a race normally now that I've experienced it the way that I have to start.
And just for our viewers, if you've never heard of Talon, go to his YouTube channel and at least watch this one video. When he says access, it's really access because I haven't seen a formal news organization have the kind of access that you've had. That was like really incredible.
It was kind of crazy. And that's one of those videos too that like I posted and it did awful. Like hardly anyone watched it, which I thought people, I mean, like a racing event like the Indy 500, that's a part of the Triple Crown, like the three major races. You have Monaco, you have Le Mans, and then the Indy 500. So I thought like more people would be interested in seeing that, and the video didn't do well, but at the end of the day, like I'm stoked I have that video for myself, so in the future I can be like, look at this opportunity that I had and I did it. I experienced everything. Like I was really stoked to be a part of that. So
I'm completely shocked about the numbers thing. I would have assumed it would have brought in people that had never heard of you before.
yeah, I tend to make videos like that occasionally. Like I'll review something that I'm typically not in, or I'll make a video at a race like that, hoping that it would bring in some new audience. And that one didn't. But again, at the end of the day, I'm still stoked on the video. I think it was a lot of fun, and it was really just like a vlog, like my perspective of experiencing the race for the first time. But that's kind of how I started making videos anyway.
So you've got how many vans now? Because I heard you mention more than one, and I thought you only had one.
Yeah, I do actually only have one now. The original one that I bought when I went full time on YouTube, I did sell that, and I'm currently sitting in it's a 2023 Storyteller Overland that I've completely hooked up.
So you've got a lot of experience now, and my question is, after all your experience, different vehicles and everything, what led you to the van, that particular one, and the way you have it hooked up?
It was kind of a natural evolution because I bought my first van. It was just a turnkey camper van, bought it from an RV dealer, and I lived in that thing for a while. So I slowly modified it to better suit the adventures and things that I was doing, trails that I was taking it on. And then this company, Storyteller Overland, I work pretty closely with them. They didn't even have their first van on the road at the time that I bought my first van. So if my money situation was right and this company existed a little bit earlier, I probably would have started with something like this. But it was a little bit out of my price range. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't jump straight into this, because after owning my original van for 5 years, it was a lot of trial and error. I learned so much about the Mercedes Sprinter platform. So I could completely gut this van, fix things, and put it all back together very easily, just because of all the experience that I've had. So then when I got this van, started as a blank canvas, I knew exactly what I wanted to do as far as modifications, suspension, tires, wheels, lighting, interior mods, and everything like that.
So the foundation of a van, what made you say, I like it so much, I'm even going to buy a second one? Because you've had a bunch of different kind of vehicles. So I mean, the full gambit. What made you say, I'm going to stick with the van? What was it about? What are the benefits or features that made you want the van?
Out of all of my vehicles, a lot of people ask, they're like, yo, if you could only have one of your vehicles, what would it be? It's always the van. For a mixture of things. It's kind of like a jack of all trades. It's not the best off-road, but if you know how to drive a vehicle like this off-road, you'd be very surprised where you can take these things. I have really great suspension. I have a rear differential lock. The new all-wheel drive systems are crazy. So it does get me off-road into most places that people wouldn't expect. And then the functionality of it. I mean, I have a shower, I have a microwave, I have a fridge. I could sell my house and live in this thing, no problem at all, because I've done it already. It's got a ton of power, AC. So it's like a house on wheels. And then also for the utility aspect of things, if I run to Costco or Home Depot, I was building a studio in my house and I needed to get this giant sliding door. And instead of emptying out one of my trucks, I just slid the door right here all the way to the front of the van, and it fit in here. Mm-hmm. So it's a house on wheels. It's decent off-road as opposed to like what people actually think of them. And yeah, it's just super functional.
I was telling somebody, funny you say that, because I've already been to Home Depot once today with a Sprinter Revel, and it's I tell people, like, probably if I had to say the best all-around overlanding vehicle, it's probably the Mercedes Sprinter platform, to be honest with you, because it combines what you just said, the luxury of a home, but it is, and they're damn good off-road. I got to tell you, because I've driven so many different things off-road as well. It surprises me every time.
Yeah, I'm glad you have experience, because not many people grasp that. But once you do experience it, like, you don't forget it. The other thing that I didn't mention, which is a big part of it too, is the community around van life and Sprinter vans, whether it's manufacturer specific, like the Winnebago Revels or the Storyteller Overland crowd, or any of the other makers out there. Some of the best people that I've met in life are people who are nomadic and travel and generally live in vans. It's kind of looked at as like a weird outsider thing to most people who aren't experienced in this world, but some of my best friends are people who are nomadic and live in a van, which is cool.
I mean, some of the main thing that I think that people overlook at times is the fact that you can stand up in it, because there's so many other kinds of overland vehicles that you can't. Yeah, and that's a big thing.
Weather is no issue in this thing. I mean, I'm like 5'10". I can completely stand up and still have like a couple inches, so I'm not hitting my head or anything. I have a full desk workspace here. It's just like, I mean, I could complete my house. Knock on wood. I hope this doesn't happen. My house could burn down right now,
Let's
and
hope
I'd be
not.
like, "Oh, that sucks. I've got another house right here." So it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So you guys either corroborate with me or dispute what I'm about to say about my observations. Within the United States, overland travel is predominantly SUVs, Jeeps, stuff like that. But when you look at overland travel internationally, I think Sprinter vans are probably the number one vehicle that you'll see across the board.
Yeah, for sure. Vans and big rigs. Europeans, particularly similar to a rig like I have. But you're right. They're not the Jeep or the Bronco or even some of the, obviously Toyota is super popular in America, but you don't see them around the world as much. I mean, certainly Land Cruisers and Land Rovers in Africa and things like that, you do. But um, I think for people that like us, or speaking for myself, that is nomadic 100% of the time, you got to be. I say this over and over again. You got to be comfortable, right? If you're not comfortable, you're not happy, and if you're not happy, you can't accomplish anything, right? So the places that you visit, the people that you see, are not nearly as good if you're not comfortable.
Yeah, that's a great point too, because I've met people who are like full-time nomadic. I met a guy one time who was living in a Jeep Wrangler with a rooftop tent full time. And
Looks like Chris Shantz, or he lived in a Jeep full time,
yeah,
or our buddy Will with his living in his Toyota 4Runner. I mean, I don't know how I mean, it's a great, capable truck for sure. I'm not arguing that, but man, I couldn't live in it.
yeah, I mean, I've done very long extended trips out of trucks, like my own trucks, and it's fine, but when I get back home, then I'm like, okay, I can clean and fix and maintain everything. I can take a nice, like, long hot shower. If I had to live on the road all the time, I would 100% take my van, because I can actually, like you said, get comfortable, decompress in here. I can get a lot of work done without standing at my tailgate working on videos. I can shower. There's amenities that make me comfortable, that again make you happy in the long run. I'm not saying that people can't be happy living out of a Jeep, but when you have the ability to have comfort that a van provides, like 100%, I'm picking the van.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So when you are overland traveling, what is your preference in landscape and trails? Are you more into sand, mountains, desert? What's your favorite type of trail and landscape to travel through?
Uh, I don't know if you've caught my last video, but I just did a pretty long trip, like a week long trip for Onyx Off Road, and the whole theme of the video is going from deserts to mountains, back to desert, back to mountain, and back to desert. So like 5 different landscapes. It's hard to pick between those two for me, but I think I would say desert, or like that cusp area where, kind of like Denver, it's like deserty in some places, but then you have the Rocky Mountains. Um, I feel like the Rocky Mountains have taken a toll on me after a while, because I like camping a lot, and it makes it very difficult when, even like tomorrow, I'm going to go out for just like an overnight trip. And if we camp at 11,000 feet, it could be like 30 degrees and it's
Hmm.
summer. So I prefer a little bit warmer weather. I would say desert if I had to pick just one.
Okay. Uh, what's at the top of your bucket list for a trip?
Oh man, most of I mean, I've explored basically every corner of the United States, including Alaska. I haven't been to Hawaii yet. That's the only state that I've never camped in. And I do plan on going to visit at some point. But as far as overlanding goes, maybe parts of Africa, some like kind of safari stuff. I I've always kind of thought about that. It's not like at the top of my list. Like there's still so much to explore in America. But if I really was getting out of my comfort zone, I would say somewhere down south in Africa, exploring like safari stuff, wildlife, just like super, super remote areas compared to what we're used to here.
Well, I think Mike would recommend it.
Oh, yeah, wholeheartedly. Definitely.
Yeah.
Once you go to Africa, you continue going back. It's like it's in your bloodstream.
Yeah, and I mean, there's other like honorable mentions and stuff like that, but well, actually, another one would actually be Australia.
Mhm.
The overlanding scene down there just is it's very similar to America, but different styles of vehicles and gear and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So I feel like that would be super interesting. I'm assuming you been down there?
No, no. Australia is the only, well, not counting Antarctica, is the only continent I have not been on.
Okay.
So it's I've never been. I would love to go as well. I agree with you. They have there's quite a scene, but it's very different.
Yeah. It's kind of cool though. Like
Yeah.
I even see some people in the US trying to like not necessarily replicate, but like use a lot of Australian styled gear and
Yeah.
setups and things like that.
Yeah, you see it at Overland Expo, there's
All the time.
right? I mean, oh, yeah. Yep.
A lot of flatbed conversions in the past like 2 years now. All these like American companies doing like Ute style things, and
Totally.
it's cool. It's cool.
Yep.
So, Talon, we're going to get into some current topics, and you chip in where you fit in.
All right.
All right.
Chip in where you fit in.
I tried to say something slick in radio.
And that's pretty good, Phil. That was good. Yeah.
So I think we all know what the topic is going to be. It's no getting around it. Like the Los Angeles ICE riots. I can't avoid the news. So let's just cover the basics. The ICE teams were sent in to Los Angeles to catch immigrants, and then there were protests. So before I get any further down the road, what do you think about just simply ICE being involved in picking up immigrants in these different cities? Should there be a different style? Should it not be done at all? What's going on?
Well, I mean, I guess I'll talk first.
Yeah,
I
go
mean,
for it.
that's their job, right? I mean, so I mean that's part of what they do. Um, I'm in a unique perspective on this a little bit, I think, because I live in Mexico. So this is near and dear to, a lot of what's going on in LA is is very closely connected to obviously the Mexican population. And how do I say this? Just the sentiment is thick and heavy. Down here we've been talking about it, and you'd be a little bit surprised at some of the reactions of the people down here because, unfortunately, you asked the question, Phil, is it being done the right way? I mean, I don't think so. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, there are better ways to do it. The rioting has been incited from, in my opinion, anyways, from both sides. We'll see where that goes. I mean, you also got to. It's kind of like I tell people when traveling. I get people all the time saying, "Oh shit, Mike, you live down in Mexico. Isn't it not safe down there? Aren't you going to get your head chopped off?" I mean, there are small areas that obviously are not safe to go to. Just like, there's certain sections, as you know, of Chicago, as an example, you don't want to set your foot into. LA is no different. This drama that you're seeing played out on television is happening in a extremely small area, right? I mean, they make it sound like, LA, greater LA, which is the size, I mean, it's a major city, obviously. Most of the city wouldn't know it was even going on, right? So
Yeah.
I'm probably not answering your question here at all, but maybe
Yeah.
Talon wants to.
I would say like so you're asking like, are they doing it the right way? I will be the first to tell you I don't have the answers on how to do it the right way. Um, Also, I will say that I don't try to completely tune stuff like that out, but I very much do not watch mainstream media. I try to get news from different sources in all different areas and kind of form my own opinion on it because I mean, with history and how things have gone, like, you can't really trust everything, especially with the internet now.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like ICE going in, like Mike said, yes, that is their job. They should be finding people who have entered the country illegally and they do something about that. Again, like some things that I have seen, which I don't know enough about this, but it seems like they're taking anyone who has entered the country illegally and they're sending them back to wherever they came from. And I don't know if I completely agree with that. Again, I don't know enough about it, but some of the hardest working people that I've ever met in my life are immigrants, whether they're illegal or legal. I don't know entirely. I think if you are breaking the law to enter the country, I think there should be something done about that. Getting legal citizenship here, I know is probably not the easiest process. So it's hard to be like definitive about how I feel about all of that because again, like media just construes things in crazy ways. And I mean, like I said, I've met some of the greatest people ever in Mexico, actually, just the sense of community there and everything. Um, I don't know. I hope it all passes, man, but that's just like probably how everyone feels. Like I don't want to see riots in LA. It's awful, but that's just the world we live in right now.
I mean, and that's the issue is like, I think most people are somewhere with some kind of common sense in the middle and said, look, something's got to be done. I'm a big fan of being legal, right? So I respect the country that I'm in, no matter which country that is. And in my case here, I'm in Mexico. I'm legally here. So I feel very strongly that people that are in the United States should also respect that for sure. The problem is what you just brought up is like, I heard a guy on TV yesterday and I had mixed feelings about it. He was going on, he's been in America for 20 years. He's a hard worker. He's got a wife and kids. He works at Home Depot, blah, 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 blah. So on one side of it, yeah, these are guys that like, I hate to say it out loud, but we need them in America. Right? Because look, Americans don't even want to do these jobs. So there's a reason for that. Like you said, that these are hardworking people, by and large, that are just trying to make a living and have their own family life and whatever. This is not who I think that we should be going after for sure. But on the other side of that, the guy's like, well, I've been there 20 years. I mean, buddy, dude, in 20 years, you couldn't figure out how to be legal. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
So,
That's a great point. And this may sound dumb, but I'm just gonna like spitball here. If ICE is doing their job and they're rounding up people who may be illegal, or let's say a group of 1,000 people, 100 of them are illegal and they're known illegal, then instead of just deporting them, like you said, maybe do a little bit of background check. Be like, okay, you've been here for 20 years. Why haven't you gotten citizenship? Is there anything we can do to help you towards that process of being a legal citizen? That way you're on the same playing field as any other citizen here. And then maybe out of those 100 who are illegal, you find someone who is a criminal. And I don't want to point fingers and say this stuff's bad or whatever, but if you have murder charges or drug dealing or whatever it is, then maybe say, okay, you're here illegally, but you're not contributing to society at all. Then we can send you back. I might get some hate for that, but that's
no, I mean, you're not getting it from here. I mean, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, The idea of a country, for one, I mean, at the base of philosophy of any country, whether it's America or anybody else, is that it's there to protect its own borders and to protect the society that exists, right? So, people that are on outliers to that are basically committing crimes, is not something. We have enough problems with that with our own citizens. We certainly don't need to add to people that aren't even citizens, into that mix. So, I saw an interesting thing yesterday that I read somewhere that they had picked up 90 people. Now, this number doesn't mean shit. Maybe Phil, you're a numbers guy. They picked up 90 people that in the LA thing that had the equivalent of a felony, if they were Americans, of a felony, either a charge against them or had committed something or were wanted or whatever. Now, I don't know, is that a lot of people or not? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they picked up a total of 180 people, 10,000 people, a million. I don't know. So I don't know if 90 is a lot or not a lot. But I mean, those people obviously is, I think was what we should be targeting. I get there's going to be people caught in the crossfire. But you notice there was a raid on where was it, in the Midwest or Oklahoma or Nebraska or somewhere, on some meat processing factory. And they go in and I'm also near and dear to me because I used to own restaurants. And I got to tell you, even in Connecticut, we had illegal people working in our kitchens and whatnot. We always looked at the paperwork. They always checked out, but you knew that some of it was sketchy. You knew that some of it was probably fake, whatever. But what are you going to do as a business owner? What can you do? You don't know. It's not my responsibility to get to the bottom of all of this. So this guy at the factory yesterday, the owner of the meat packing thing, was like, well, and this must be new since I've been in the business, but they said, well, we're using your e document system or whatever, which is a U.S. government system apparently, and then the government says, well, there's flaws to that. It's not working. Well, whose fault is that then? I mean, that doesn't seem like it's the owner of the meat packing place. And I'm not sure it's the fault of the immigrant, other than the fact that obviously they crossed the border at some point illegally, I guess. But that's a challenging situation. But why do we? So you asked at the top of the show, Phil. I mean, let's go a long way around here. Is it being done the right way? I'm not sure just random raids of meat packing places in the Midwest is really what we're all trying to accomplish here. I think, to me, what we should be accomplishing is either get the bad guys out, and the good guys that we really need and want, quite frankly, we should find a way of making them legal, because look, there's citizenship, there's temporary residency, there's green cards, there's work, there's lots of layers of this. Maybe they need to create another layer of, these people are helping us. Like, this is a positive, right? At the end of the day, shouldn't we be doing what's best for the country?
Okay, so
getting off my soapbox now.
I'm going to be all over the place. But let me start with one that is I believe, a fallacy in America. The statement of they're doing jobs that we don't want to do. And then the first things that you mentioned was meat packing and a restaurant. Yes, they are doing some job, absolutely do, but that's a small portion. The majority of them are taking hotel jobs, construction jobs. They're making it out to be like they're all doing these very menial jobs, and that is not the case.
No, for sure.
So that's one thing. There's going to be a continual thing through the points that I'm making. There's hypocrisy on every level. The only people I don't see the hypocrisy in are the actual illegal immigrants who are coming in. They're just trying to do the best. So I eliminate them from the issue. The issue is Americans and the American government. Because they first of all, the government uses the Americans. So let's just take the Los Angeles thing. They get there's a bunch of Americans that are protesting. And
Mostly.
so these weren't spontaneous protests. They were engineered chaos. Progressive operatives, many of them far removed from the real world consequences stirred up by these Hispanic residents. These people who incite you to do these protests are going to go back to their gated communities and have nothing to do with it. I've seen it over and over again. So these protests are going to hurt the immigrants because it goes against them that they're fighting here in America and raising their flags. And it also makes legal immigrants look bad because they're protesting for them. And then the people who incited the people, the government officials and representatives, the people who incited, they have no interest in whether they come or go, whether they get arrested. It's just a talking point so that a year from now, they can say, I fought for this. I stood up for this. I flew down to Salvador and visited this immigrant. Vote for me. It has nothing to do from the government side and the representatives. It has nothing to do with doing what's right. And I'm talking about whether you're red, blue, whatever. It's all a chess game. And we're the chess pieces. Then with just the American citizens, let's take California. I lived there for a minute. Everybody got somebody that they hired that's an illegal immigrant in California. Almost everybody. I'm talking about lower middle class people. I'm always complaining about our recording times and how they are always cutting our grass, right?
Yeah.
I'm confident half the guys that are cutting the grass are illegal immigrants. And I'm not the only one that's astute enough to observe that. So my point is, we look the blind eye when it's to our advantage, but then we want to fight and protest when it's to our disadvantage. So there's hypocrisy everywhere. That's and the immigrants are being used as a tool. Now, my personal opinion, if you don't legally live here, go home. I can't go to another country and do any of the things that they come here and try and do. The amount of paperwork that it takes to go to another country and legally work a job is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of, I'm in that same position too. Like, if you are finding a bunch of illegals and they came from whatever country, and like you said, they've been here for 20 years and haven't made any progress to becoming a citizen, like at that point, it's just negligence on their part. And again, I understand, like, sometimes it's hard. Maybe there's a reason that maybe they have a criminal record in their home country and can't get citizenship here. Then sure, like go back. Like, if you can't contribute to your own society, but you think you might be better off here using whatever kind of government assistance we have, like, if you're a criminal, I don't think we should allow illegal people to be here if that's the case.
Nobody else does, by the way.
I absolutely believe that there are people here for extended amounts of time, and the reason why they haven't reported in is because they have a record or whatever. But let's take, for instance, just a few days ago, Martha's Vineyard. They did a bunch of raids there, and they're not picking up just random poor people that are trying to make it. All of the businesses had to shut down because the business owners were here for decades.
I got to tell you,
that's why I say that we as Americans are the hypocrites, because they knew that these people were illegal and allowed them to open up businesses and things like that. We only have an issue when we feel uncomfortable. And I don't mean as a whole.
Going on, Phil. I mean, I used to live in Martha's Vineyard in the summertime, and both Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. have always, I mean, as far back as I can remember, 25 years ago, have always used immigrant labor that was always, it was
But the
always
owners of
and
the
and the owners,
businesses.
yeah, and in most cases over there, actually, it was Eastern European. A lot like I would met people all the time there that were serving or like you said, even own the business that were from, Latvia or Croatia or, all sorts of places, Uzbekistan. I mean, that's very common there.
So it's hard for me to have a strong opinion because I know everyone is being hypocritical. Everyone is looking at it from a bias. Everyone is looking at it in a very selfish manner. And when I say everybody, I'm generalizing. So
Let me give it from the
because
political
there should
side.
not be borders. If we're going to get
Some,
down to the real, there should borders should not exist.
some,
I I should be able to go anywhere I want, anytime I want, and nobody should be able to tell me what to do. That's reality.
you talk about international borders.
I think I should be able to go anywhere on this earth without anybody telling me what to do.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It sounds good, but
Yeah, it sounds great. I mean, I can't even go from Arizona to California without them checking to see if I need oranges in my
yeah.
but Phil, let me give it to from the political standpoint.
Hmm.
From the political standpoint, there's a lot of people that are involved in these protests that are what I would call professional protesters that are stirring the pot. And on the other side, I think the Trump administration is utilizing this as a scare tactic and as a I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday here, and I use you, Phil, as an example because you always like we talked about this during the election cycle last year, where the Democrats have signed on to what we call the 20%, the loser
80-20.
the 80-20 rule, and they kept picking the 20. Well, this is another one. Like you pick the side of going against law enforcement or going against look, it's a law. It was voted in by both sides, parties, whatever it's in the Constitution. You take the other side of this, you're on the loser side. And Trump knows this. So look, the more he pokes the bear, the more he's winning that battle. Like he's going to. Somebody asked me yesterday, and we've talked about this on the podcast all the time. I am a strong libertarian, and I kind of like both parties drive me crazy, to be honest with you. But somebody asked me what they thought of my opinion on Trump, his administration to date, and this is not a reflection of whether I agree with him or not. But if I was rating him a classroom rating, he's an A+, because everything he said he was going to do, he fucking does. It's happened. So you don't have to agree with it. And I don't agree with a lot of the cockamanian ideas he comes up with, but man, he's succeeding at a high level. And this is another example. Like he's going to come out of this California thing. Like I think Newsom had aspirations to run for president. I'll use him as an example. And I don't know if you've noticed recently in the last month or so, he's started going on some podcasts and talk radio and whatnot, even across the aisle a little bit. And he was trying to become across as a sort of a mainstream kind of, whatever.
He's even come out
Just
and
shot
had
himself in the head. He just ended that like in a week.
Yeah,
you're on the wrong side of history. If you're going to go against the law, nobody ultimately, I think in the United States, I think 75% of the people are going to say that you got to abide by the law.
I believe it's an 80-20 issue, but I think the 20 is ebbing up to 21, 22, 23 now. Americans' patience for military in their city is going to be very short.
Mm-hmm.
If this isn't effective in a very short time, it's gonna go against him. It's
Agreed.
as simple as in my neighborhood. If a police car drives down the street, people are like, "Why is a police car coming down the street? What's going on?" We don't have police riding around in our
Right.
neighborhood. So imagine if all of a sudden there's military. There are only people who are, and I'm for getting rid of the immigrants, and I'm for ICE and all of that. But I'm not for extended periods of time of military being in my city.
Nope.
And I think that's going to be the overwhelming thing. It's good now, but he's got to shut this down quick and effectively. That's my opinion. All right, I guess
Yeah.
I'm right.
Talon? Not in. Yeah.
And I'm this is something I just want to say that it's more I am saying this not to you guys. I am saying this to the Hispanic people and the immigrant people right now. And that is burning down job sites and terrorizing your own neighborhoods is not how you're going to get what you're trying to fight for. You are literally letting leaders get you to do stupid shit.
Yep.
Excuse me.
And the sad part about it is I was talking to a couple Mexicans down here yesterday, and the general sentiment of this whole thing down here, because Claudia Sheinbaum has been on the news, quite often as the president of Mexico, and she's made a couple statements on it and whatnot. The general assessment
She's
here,
told them that they should do what they're doing.
yeah, and she's losing support from I'm telling you, the people's sentiment here, and this is like, I don't take this the wrong way, but like a lot of Mexicans are, I don't want to say it this way, really. They have a
Sensible.
well, they're sensible, but they don't. This is one of the reasons why the politics of Mexico work, and it's very interconnected through cartels, and they've got a really dysfunctional. But the people accept it because they like stability. They don't like conflict. And one of the things that I was told yesterday was like their biggest concern with this happening up there is it's just one more thing where Americans won't like the brown people. You know what I mean? Like, and they just don't want to see that. They already the concern down here is that Americans already are skeptical of Mexicans, and they don't want that to get worse. They know that their bread and butter is from tourism, from Americans and Canadians, from industry that's cross border. So that they don't want to damage that, and they want this to go away. They don't want this.
I want it to go away. I would like Canada and Mexico to be a place that I could just take my driver's license, not a passport, and I could just, I'm from America. Hey, you're my neighbor. We're neighbors. We should treat each other like neighbors.
And that's where our strength lies, by the way. We all bitch about, China and, all the stuff that's going on over there. In the future, our trade partners really should be our neighbors.
I agree. And there's plenty of resources right here in North and South America. So there's really no reason to go other places.
That's right.
Yeah. I think like on top of that whole topic too, like something close to home for me is you're talking about the LA riots and everything. I don't know if it ever made like national news or anything, but just recently there was a protest in downtown Denver, and I avoid like downtown Denver as much as possible, but it made me think like I'm not I mean, I grew up in the 90s, so whenever I think of protesting, I think it is our right. You should be able to do that. But I can't think of a protest that comes to mind where there was an actual positive outcome. It starts as a protest, turns into a riot. Now we're at the point in LA where, like you said, there's originally police and SWAT team intervention, but now I think military from what I've like seen. And again, I don't watch mainstream news, but the protests that started in Denver, it just grew and grew, and then it basically turns into a riot, and there were huge crowds of people trying to push from out of the city onto Interstate 25, which runs north from
It's crazy.
Wyoming straight down through the bottom of the state. And it's the worst road to one of the worst roads to drive in Colorado.
It's my least liked road. I gotta tell you, you could take 3 hours to go from Fort Collins to the other side of Denver.
Yeah, and people want to go out there. Like, if you have a death wish, sure, go out there and do whatever you're doing on the interstate, but you're inconveniencing people like myself who I feel how I feel about these topics and everything, but man, I'm just trying to live my life.
Yes.
Like, I grew up in a small town, and I can't wait to get back to that style of life again. Like, I live too close to a major city now, and to be honest with you, I don't like it. I just want to stay in my own lane, worry about myself, my family, my property, my belongings, and I just want to be peaceful, man. Yes. And so all of that to say, I can't think of a protest that got anything accomplished. It is all right, but it just always leads to bigger problems.
Yeah, so, I mean, you got to take action, and protest is not action, really. It's just standing around with a sign. And like you said, it almost inevitably you get the bad eggs involved, and then they're, breaking windows or smashing cars or whatever. And I can't think of anyone that's ever successful either.
Talon,
I just don't think they are.
Talon, I have a question about Denver. So, about Colorado. Mm-hmm. From the outside looking in, it looks like Denver is blue, and then as you get out of Denver, the rest of Colorado is red. Would that be accurate?
100%. Yeah, Colorado land-wise is a very red state. Yeah. But we have two giant pockets of blue, being Denver and like the Boulder Golden region, where a lot of money and businesses are and things like that. So that's one of the reasons why I stay out of the city. There's just a lot of things that I don't like there. It's nice living here because of the convenience factor. I mean, it's a major city, huge airport hub, so I can get around places in like other places in the country. But yeah, the politics in Colorado are bordering on the line of like what California looked like a few years ago. And it gets crazier and crazier every year. And I just, again, try to stay in my own lane and try to tune it out. But at some point you have to kind of do your part, whatever that part is. I don't know, but it's hard to live. It's hard for me to live this close to a major city.
Oh, I totally get it. So let's lighten this up before we get out of here. I want to talk about something here in Seattle and hear what your opinion is on this, guys. So, bad news about Seattle. Seattle is the nation's most male-skewed major city. As of 2023,
male-skewed?
Yes.
Okay.
As of 2023, the most recent census data available, there were 107.3 Seattle men for every 100 Seattle women. And among the 100 largest U.S. cities, Seattle has the most male-skewed adult population. They edged out Austin, Texas, and San Francisco.
Huh.
Now, the shocking thing to me is not that we're on the list, but that we're number one. If I had to guess, I would have thought Alaska, and it barely made the top 5.
Yeah, I would have thought Alaska too.
Yeah, I mean, I've never even thought about this before, but is there a question behind that? Like, is there a concern or something?
I never thought about it either.
Well, if you're single and you like girls, there's a concern.
I'm not. Hey, Phil, for the record, I'm not coming to Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting married in actually 3 months from today. I'm getting married, so I wouldn't be worried about that personally. But yeah, it's a big sausage party up in Seattle.
Yeah, why is that, Phil?
Tech.
Okay, so it's a job base, Boeing, and then right on down from that.
And if you see the list, basically everywhere where there's either tech or like industry like oil.
That's why Austin or Dallas. Okay.
But visually, the one that sticks out to me is Alaska. You go in a club, a woman will have like 10 guys all
Yeah.
around her buying drinks in Alaska because there's so few women.
Maybe they were discounted. They weren't big enough cities. Maybe they were looking at bigger cities.
Well, they're on the list.
Not big enough.
Alaska's on the list. Yeah.
Alaska as a whole is on the list.
Which city is it?
Or Anchorage.
Fairbanks.
It's Anchorage. It's Anchorage. And Fairbanks wasn't on the list, which I thought would have been on the list. Because
Fairbanks is very military based, and then Anchorage is Alaska is just a strange place. Like
It is.
I spent a month there last summer, and I never got the feeling like, man, there's a lot of dudes here. Like I felt like most of the people that I saw was like tourists because I was kind of a tourist in my own country. Like I was checking out all the coastal towns and stuff, but yeah, that I've never even really put a thought to like male, female.
Yeah, huh? Interesting. What's the highest female? We'll have to talk about that next week.
Yeah, what is the highest female?
Yeah.
I can find that out for you, Jim.
I mean, if I had to take a guess on that, I'll be wrong. But like, I would think.
So what's your guess?
It's gonna be. I'm thinking like probably more East Coast, maybe Boston or
you're close. So number one, female skewed is Baltimore. Number two is Greensboro, North Carolina. Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Really?
Detroit and Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah,
and just for your curiosity, if you go into the top 10, there's two more North Carolina towns. So what is going on? Maybe that's what I should have asked about is North Carolina. Almost every major
North Carolina.
Interesting.
And their numbers of disparity are larger than the ones that are skewed male.
Interesting.
So if you're single and you're looking for a
Head
good
to North
woman,
Carolina.
yeah, any city.
Right. And if you're a guy and single, don't go to Seattle.
Right. So Talon, we are so glad that you gave us the opportunity to talk to you. I have been following you for a long time. I have literally, like when you do your knife collections, I've literally pulled out my crates and played with my knife while I'm watching you talk about your knife. That's how much I'm into it.
Phil's not making that up either.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's cool to have like a common connection with basically anyone who watches my videos, and you definitely watched a bunch, so I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan. That's why when I saw you, you know what? I want to ask you about that. When I saw you, I felt very comfortable the first time approaching you because I've watched so many of your videos. I feel like I know you. How does that feel having people just start talking and they know points about your life and places you've been?
So when it started at first, it was very strange, like, because I was just not used to that. But then over the years, as my audience grew and I started showing up at expos more and more, I just started becoming more comfortable with it. Sometimes it can still be uncomfortable. Like people will come up to me and kind of say some things that are just like really out of pocket and like kind of crazy, thinking like, oh, I know this dude, like he feels this way. And oftentimes like in those situations, I'm like, whoa, man, like it's kind of crazy. I always am respectful and I will use my time to talk with anyone who watches my videos and wants to chat with me. But for the most part, it's very, very cool and humbling interactions. That's why I go to expos. Like it's one thing to network with companies that I work with and new potential partners, but I'm really going there to connect with people who watch my videos because that enables me to do all of the things that everyone sees on the internet.
So I want you to connect with your people right now. Give us your final words and how someone can find you.
Yeah. Man, I don't even know what I would say for final words, but
Well,
Yes.
how do your fans or new fans find you and follow you?
Yeah, you can find me on pretty much any platform, mainly YouTube at Talon Sei. I have all my other like random channels kind of linked on there. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, Talon Sei on basically everything. So it should be pretty easy to find me. Or on my website, you can find everything too, which is seiproductions.com. It's SEI Productions.
Mike, do you have any final words?
Well, I want to thank you for coming on and being submitted to our talk about the riots today, and because you never know where we're going on this podcast. Somebody said to me last week, they were like, it's amazing how many people are listening to you guys now ever since you stopped talking just about overland trucks, and it's like, well, hey. We like to mix it up and talk about everything. It all is interconnected in some way.
Yeah, Phil, he prefaced me pretty good early on. He's like, "Hey, we do this podcast, but we talk about anything and everything. Are you cool with that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a pretty open book. Like, I'll give informed opinions where I think it matters. But yeah,
Mike, to Talon's credit, when I asked him, he said yes almost before I finished answering the question. I was like, whoa, here's my card. You need to watch a few of our videos first.
I'm cool with it, man. I think we had some good discussions here.
Yeah. No, and thanks again for coming on, and we'll see you at the somewhere out on the road, I'm sure, or the next expo.
Yeah, sounds good, guys.
All right, guys, you know what I'm going to say. Stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully we'll see you here or on the trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.